It's headlines and fun, true crime tales and a wild rerun. Bits of news to brighten your day in the latest, wackiest, petty expressway. Scandals, gators, space coast too, crimes that baffle and headlights askew. When the world gets dark, we bring the cheer, music nuggets, the good, the grim, the weird is here.
Hey guys, it's Mo with another Karen Reed juror speaking out. Sorry about the background noise. But we are looking at possibly the most vocal, juror that has come out, at least on social media, and giving her story out. Paula Prado, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's been an explosion of Karen readiness, so I am trying to wade through and get stuff out to you guys while still functioning as a human being, which I tend to do not so great all the time at all the places. That being said, let's get into this. She has been one of the more vocal and visible jurors. Now, she is one of the 12 jurors in the closely watched murder trial, and she spoke out on Thursday about the panel's decision to find Reed, 45 years old, not guilty of murder and manslaughter charges, even though she conceded that Reed possibly could have touched him somehow with her SUV outside of the Canton home. Quote, either he got out of her way or something and maybe lost his shoe in the process, Prado said, according to WBZ News, in reference to O'Keefe having only one shoe when he was found on the morning of January 29th, 2022. But in my opinion, he definitely went inside and something happened inside the house. Now, while prosecutors accused Reed of hitting John O'Keefe, 46, with her car and leaving him for dead in a snowbank, the defense claimed the former adjunct professor was a lackey of a police cover-up, and the police officer was beaten up at the party, even bitten possibly by a dog. Again, this is a very small breakdown. If you didn't get a chance to watch the trial, Broken Baker, who is a rock star in the Karen world. He knows all the things. He's been on it forever. I am a latecomer to this case, but he invited me and Valhalla, and we watched the entirety of the first and second trial. And he broke down the first trial. I broke down the second trial in short videos. If you want to go relive the drama, the crazy, I would check out those videos. I have an entire playlist, so does he. So check out Valhalla and Baker. They are awesome sauce. But if you've been living under a rock, that is essentially the case in a nutshell. Turtle and a half shell, turtle power. Yeah, look, Mr. Mo has to deal with this all the time. Now, prosecutors, said that she hit him. Now, ultimately, Reed was only convicted of driving under the influence Wednesday and sentenced to a year of probation. I don't think she was responsible for his death. I think she dropped him off, Prado said. If she backed up fast enough to maybe touch him, maybe. The head injuries he suffered weren't caused by getting hit with a car, she argued. Now, Prado, who is a lawyer from Brazil, initially said that she thought Reed might be guilty of manslaughter, but that assumption quickly eroded. As the weeks passed by, I realized there were too many holes that we couldn't fill, and there was nothing that put her on the scene, in our opinion, besides just dropping John O'Keefe off, she told WBZ. And again, this just illustrates that if you don't have a good investigation, these questions can never be answered because you cannot go back. There is no evidence collected. There is no clear chain of custody. There is no, reasonable expectation of integrity as to where things were found, where the chain of custody. We cannot give them the benefit of the doubt, given all of the conduct and sort of wonkiness that went on with both the lay witnesses and the, state expert witnesses. You had all of their witnesses have problems with sort of the truthiness of things, whether it was with federal agents or, their prior testimony in the last trial. There was always that kind of deep, like, we'll change our story to fit the fact pattern now kind of vibe, at least in my opinion. And I know that this has been a incredibly tribal case. I mean, I always figured something more deeply political, although this case is political in the sense that it deals with an entire city's corruption and cover their own ass kind of behavior. I always thought that, what would divide people, what would make, sort of a tribal case would be something much more political than this case inherently is. And political, I mean, hot button sort of national issues coming to a head right now from all the politiosity. So it has always been a little strange in my sort of step back 50,000 foot view of this case that this is the case that has been so divisive. So kind of I stake and will die on this hill kind of case. It's kind of amusing to me and sort of, again, that very 50,000 feet observing kind of, this is strange. This isn't what I would have expected to be so, virulently like I'm on this side or this side. I will say that I have been absolutely appalled by the anti-Karen Reed behavior towards the jurists that have come forward to, again, explain that there were so many holes. They couldn't do this. They could not, in good conscience, without the evidence, just, co-sign a guilty verdict. And all of the bad behavior that, was supposedly going to happen if the jury found Karen Reed guilty is coming from the side that claims that they are the morally superior ones that are there for justice. It is such a remarkable show of hypocrisy. It really is oddity to me. Again, I tend to look at things from a 50,000 humans are weird kind of view, and it has been very weird. Back to the article though. We couldn't prove there was a collision that she was responsible for John's death, Prado said, adding that she was 100% convinced. She said authorities and prosecutors did not prove their case and cannot say whether Reed was framed by the police. Prado found it confounding Brian Higgins, an agent of the Bureau of Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, who exchanged flirty text with Karen Reed 2 weeks before O'Keefe's death, and Brian Albert, the homeowner at the time of, the incident when O'Keefe was found, didn't take the stand. The owner of the house and the person who sent text messages with Karen Reed a few days before John's death, I do think it was weird not to hear from them, Prado said. Now, Prado called the deliberations a little overwhelming, and while, she understood emotions on both sides of the trial, I really hope there's a way for the case to be reopened and they can investigate again and find out what really happened to him, she said. So I do hope that too. The sad part is unfortunately, a lot of the evidence, we don't know if that's evidence. We don't know if the taillights mean anything now. We don't know what anything means. The house was never looked at. We've never actually been in there. I know people have done some recreations or we've done some, speculations, but we don't know. And that's the problem. And my heart goes out to the children that were involved in this case, first and foremost. My heart goes out to them. Their lives have been just touched by tragedy over and over again. And my heart still goes out to John's parents. I understand how grief can turn you into a hard and angry person and how it's easier to hate Karen and believe this, then be angry at God, be angry at the universe, not have those answers. I have been there, done that, where I was more angry at a person because I couldn't be angry, at God and things like that. So I know I have a soft spot that many don't for the parents, but I do understand how grief can turn you hard as nails and mean as a rattlesnake for a long time. And I was stuck there for a long time. So I have grace for that. I do understand it. I don't say it's right. It was not right when I was angry, mean, and bitter, but I do understand, and I hope she can move through that stage at some point. But that is what I think. I'm good. There is apparently World War III going on with my boys, so I'm going to go litigate that before I have to do a stream. So I will be right back. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because sometimes you need to stop WW action with three feral boys. Bye, you guys.